Now we will discuss about the invertebrates. As we know, what are the invertebrates? We know invertebrates are the organisms which they doesn't consisting of a vertebral column, we are saying, or which they doesn't consisting of a backbone. That organisms we are calling as what? Invertebrates. They are also called as non-chordates, we are saying. And very important point here, on the earth 96% of the species which are there, they are invertebrates only. 96% of the species which are there on the earth, they are invertebrates only. Only 4% we are saying as a vertebrate species, we are saying. And regarding the invertebrates, actually the invertebrates again we are dividing into 9 phyla. The invertebrates which we had here, that invertebrates we are dividing into 9 phylums, right? Phylum Porifera we had, then phylum Nidaria we had, phylum Ctenophora we had, phylum Nematoda we had, phylum Platyhelminthes, we had, then phylum Annelida, phylum Arthropoda, then phylum Mollusca, lastly phylum Echinodermata. These are the 9 phylums. Which they are present in the invertebrates, we are saying. Invertebrates we are dividing into 9 phylums. On what basis we are dividing the invertebrates into 9 phylums? Different characters we are taking into consideration. Main characters we are taking into consideration, they mainly consisting of symmetry, we are saying. Then coelom, right? Coelom we are taking the main consideration. What is the symmetry now? Symmetry is a phenomena. Symmetry is a process in which what we are doing, we are dividing the animal into 2 here. Equally, we are dividing the animal into 2. That process we are calling as what? Symmetry. Or as distribution of the organs in the animal equally we are calling as what? Symmetry. Making half of the 2, right, in an organism we are calling as what? We are calling as symmetry. Then types of symmetry mainly consisting of asymmetry we had, radial symmetry we had, then bilateral symmetry we had. Symmetry it means simply we know dividing the organism into 2 equal halves, we are saying as symmetry. Apart from that thing, what we are saying here again we are dividing the symmetry into 3 types here. Asymmetry we are saying, then radial symmetry we are saying, and bilateral symmetry we are saying. Name itself indicate asymmetry, it means absence. That means the organisms in which symmetry is absent we are calling as what? Asymmetry we are calling. Then radial symmetry it means simply what is happening in the radial symmetry. If you are taking it as an organism, what is happening? By any plane we can divide the organism into 2 equal halves. What is happening here? By any plane we can divide the organism into 2 equal halves. That phenomena we are calling as what? Radial symmetry. Radial symmetry is a phenomena passing through the central axis by any plane. If you are dividing the organism into 2 equal halves, we are calling as what? Radial symmetry we are calling. Then next we had about the bilateral symmetry. Bilateral symmetry it means what? Bilateral symmetry it means we are dividing the organism into 2 equal halves. We are dividing the organism into 2 equal halves by only one plane, like this. If you are dividing the organism into 2 equal halves by only one plane, we are calling as what? Bilateral symmetry. That's the main difference between the radial symmetry and bilateral symmetry. In the radial symmetry, what we are doing? In the radial symmetry, we are dividing the organism into 2 equal halves by any plane passing through the central axis. So what is happening in the bilateral symmetry? In the bilateral symmetry, we are dividing the organism into 2 planes, that means 2 halves, by passing through the central axis only, by only one plane only. That is the bilateral symmetry we are seeing. This is about the symmetry we have. Then coelom we have. So what about coelom? Coelom, it means what here? Coelom is a body cavity Coelom is a body fluid or body cavity which is present in between the outer layer or outer body wall and the visceral organs here. Coelom, which is a coelom is a body fluid which is present in between what? Which is present in between the outer body wall and then visceral organs. That thing we are calling as what? Coelom we are calling. Coelom also again we had three types here. Acoelomates we had, acoelomates we had, pseudocoelomates we had, pseudocoelomates we had, then eucoelomates we had, then eucoelomates we had, eucoelomates we had. Right. As coelom we know, coelom is the body fluid which is present in between the body wall and then the visceral organs we are saying. Then how many types of coeloms are there? Three types of the coeloms mainly we are considering. One is the acoelom. A always, the term always indicate acoelomates. It means the organisms in which the coelom is absent. That things we are calling as what? That thing we are calling as acoelomates we are calling. Pseudocoelomates we have. Pseudocoelomates, it means the organisms in which they are consisting of coelom, but that coelom is not lined by the mesodermal epithelium. Hence we are calling as pseudocoelomates. Pseudo, the term always indicate false. Coelom is present, but the coelom is a false coelom. Why we are calling it as a false coelom? Because it is not lined by the mesodermal lining. Hence we are calling as what? Hence we are calling as pseudocoelomates here. Eucoelomates. Eucoelomates are the true coelomates we are saying. Eucoelomates are the true coelomates. Again, eucoelomates we are dividing into schizocoelomates and enterocoelomates. Both things we are dividing here. This is about the coelom symmetry. Coelom symmetry characters we are taking into consideration, and the cellular level of organization, tissue level of organization, organ level of organization, organ system level of organization, respiratory organs, excretory organs. All these characters we are taking into consideration for the dividing or formation of the different phylums. That means 9 phylums in the invertebrates here, right? Now we will see the outline classification. That means classification of the different phylums in the invertebrates. Now if you see the different phylums, we are starting from the Porifera now. First we will take it as a Porifera. Phylum Porifera is divided into 3 classes. Phylum Porifera is divided into 3 classes. 3 classes we are saying. Phylum Porifera is divided into 3 classes. Porifera is divided into 3 classes. The 3 classes mainly consisting of what? Calcarea, Exactinellida, and Demospongia. These are the 3 classes. 3 classes we had in the phylum Porifera. Phylum Porifera we are dividing into 3 classes. 3 classes mainly consisting of what? Class Calcarea, Exactinellida and Demospongia. And regarding that, we will discuss a simple points about the Porifera. The term always indicate phylum Porifera. Porifera, the term always indicate pori, it means pore bearing. The organisms which are there, they are pore bearing we are saying. And poriferans always consisting of cellular level of organization. Their body is consisting of only cells, hence we are calling them as a cellular level of organizations. And in the poriferans, for the respiration, for the excretion, they had the water canal system. They had the water canal system for the respiration and excretion we are saying. Apart from this thing, mainly spicules we are saying. Mainly spicules. Skeletal system of the Porifera mainly consisting of the spine-like structures. They are calling as what? Spicules. Based on the presence of the spicules only, we are forming the 3 classes. Calcarea, Exactinellida, Demospongia. Calcarea, name itself indicate always consisting of calcium carbonate spicules. They consisting of spicules which are made up of what? Which are made up of the calcium carbonate spicules we are saying. This is the Calcarea we are saying. Apart from the Calcarea, example of the Calcarea, if you are taking Calcarea example, always consisting of Cycon. Always consisting of Cycon we are saying. And regarding after the Calcarea, if you are saying about the Exactinellida, name always indicate. Here Calcarea, we are taking it as a calcium. That's why we are saying as a calcium carbonate spicules we are saying. Exactinellida we are saying. Name always indicate here. Exactinellida, it means what now? Exactinellida term always indicate 6. Hexa, it means what? Hexa, it means 6 we are saying. That means Exactinellida group of organisms always consisting of what? They always consisting of a 6 siliceous spicules. They always consisting of what? They always consisting of a 6 siliceous spicules here. They consisting of 6 siliceous spicules we are saying. Then Hexacnelida example always consisting of what? Euplectella. Euplectella. Euplectella, common name we are calling as Venus flower basket. Venus flower basket. Euplectella always we are calling as a Venus flower basket. This is about the Hexacnelida we are saying. The next one we had about the Demospongia. Demospongia, most of these things, Demospongia mainly they are consisting of what they are consisting of freshwater sponges. Demospongia also consisting of a siliceous spicules. They are also consisting of siliceous spicules here. And Demospongia example mainly consisting of what? Euspongia. Euspongia. Euspongia commonly we are calling as bath sponge. Commonly we are calling as bath sponge. Also in the Hexacnelida we had about Spongilla. We had the Spongilla as the example. This is about the phylum Porifera we are saying. The first phylum which we discussed about the phylum Porifera. Phylum Porifera consisting of 3 classes we are saying. The 3 classes mainly consisting of what? Calcarea, Hexacnelida and Demospongia we are saying. On the basis of the spicules, Calcarea consisting of calcium carbonate spicules we are saying. Then example we are saying a Cycon. Hexacnelida consisting of a siliceous spicules we are saying. That means made up of silicon dioxide. Made up of silicon dioxide we are saying. Which they are made up of silicon dioxide. Hence we are saying as siliceous. Example we had the Euplectella. Euplectella also we are calling as a Venus flower basket. Common name it is. Then Demospongia we are saying. Demospongia always we are calling them as a they are the freshwater, mostly they are the freshwater sponges. They lives in the water, hence we are calling as a freshwater sponges. They consisting of a siliceous spicules we are saying. Example mainly consisting of Euspongia. Euspongia is the common bath sponge we are saying. Apart from the Euspongia we have the Spongilla, freshwater sponge we are saying. This is about the phylum Porifera. After Porifera we had about the phylum Cnidaria. After Porifera what we had? We had the Cnidaria. Phylum Cnidaria we are saying. Now regarding the phylum Cnidaria, name itself indicate. Phylum Cnidaria we are saying. Name itself indicate here. Phylum Cnidaria. Right. As this phylum organisms, as these organisms consisting of a cnidocyte cells, as these organisms consisting of a cnidocyte cells, cnidocyte cells, hence we are calling them as what? Hence we are calling them as a Cnidaria here. Again, phylum Cnidaria which is there, phylum Cnidaria it will be consisting of a radial symmetry, it is consisting of a radial symmetry, and phylum Cnidaria consisting of a tissue level of organization. And phylum Cnidaria organisms which are there, they are the diploblastic organisms. Diploblastic organisms, it means they consisting of a ectoderm, endoderm, both here, both layers. Hence we are calling them as a diploblastic organisms, right? And mainly phylum Cnidaria mainly consisting of what? Polyp and medusa form. They always consisting of what? They always consisting of a polyp and medusa form. Polyp form we had and medusa form we had. 2 forms. Polyp is the cylindrical asexual form. Then medusa is the umbrella shaped and then sexual form. Polyp form, it is not moving, they are the sessile. And then medusa form is a free swimming form here. Based on the presence of the polyp and medusa here, we are dividing the class into 3 classes here. 3 classes we are dividing. The 3 classes mainly consisting of what? Hydrozoa. 3 classes we had. Hydrozoa we had, Scyphozoa we had, then Anthozoa. Anthozoa or Actinozoa. We are calling it. Here, Hydrozoa, right? On what basis we discussed now? On the basis of the polyp and medusa we are saying. Hydrozoa form, or as class Hydrozoa is consisting of both forms here, polyp and medusa. They are consisting of both forms here, polyp and medusa forms. That's why they are exhibiting the alternation of generation. Hydrozoans exhibits the alternation of generation. Here hydrozoans example mainly we are taking a hydra. You can identify you can remember the example easily. That means hydrozoa, hydra. Then we had also the example of the Physalia. Physalia, it means commonly we are calling as Portuguese man of war. Portuguese man of war. as they consisting of tentacles, hence we are calling it as the Portuguese man of war here. Here, Scyphozoa we had. Scyphozoa, they are commonly they are calling as jellyfishes. Commonly they are calling as jellyfishes because they consisting of mesoglea. As they consisting of mesoglea in their body cavity, commonly we are calling them as jellyfishes here. Here, Scyphozoans which we had, they consisting of what? They consisting of medusa form. They consisting of medusa form. Here, Scyphozoans example always consisting of what? Aurelia. Aurelia we are calling as jellyfish. Aurelia we are calling as jellyfish. And Anthozoans, we are also calling them as actinozoans. Anthozoans which we had, they are always consisting of polyform. And example of the anthozoans, they are actually anthozoans. They are sessile. That means they can't move. They are sticking to one place only. Anthozoans example always consisting of Adamsia. Adamsia we are also calling as sea anemone. Adamsia we are also calling it as sea anemone here. Adamsia we are also calling it as sea anemone. This is about the classification of the Cnidaria we are saying. That means phylum Cnidaria is divided into 3 classes on the basis of the polyp and medusa form we had here. Right? Then next about the Ctenophorans. Third phylum we are calling it as a Ctenophorans. Ctenophorans. Here Ctenophorans which we had here, name itself indicate Ctenophora which we had here. That means phylum Ctenophora. Name itself indicate the Ctenophorans are the close relatives of the Cnidarians because they consisting of same characters as the Cnidarians. They are the diploblastic, they consisting of a radial symmetry and they consisting of a tissue level of organization. Hence the same characters which they consisting of Cnidaria, they also consisting of, hence we are calling the phylum Ctenophorans are the close relatives of the Cnidarians. Commonly, and Ctenophorans we are calling as sea walnut and sea gooseberries. Commonly we are calling them as sea walnuts and then sea gooseberries. They are phylum Ctenophorans mainly consisting of a comb plates here. Their body is consisting of comb plates, and very important point here. Here the Ctenophorans which are there, they will exhibit the bioluminescence property. Bioluminescence property. That means self-light emitting capacity. These organisms consisting of the self-light emitting capacity. Now simply Ctenophorans are divided into 2 classes, that is Tentaculata and Nuda. 2 classes, that is Tentaculata and Nuda. The organisms, name itself indicate, they consisting of tentacles. If the organisms consisting of tentacles, they are present in the Tentaculata class. Example will be Pleurodranchia. Example Pleurodranchia. Then Nuda, that means Nuda, it means what? Nude. That means in these things, in this class Nuda doesn't consisting of a tentacles we are saying. Example, we are saying it as a Bero. Bero is the example of the Nuda. This is about the Ctenophorans. Ctenophorans are the close relatives of the Cnidarians we are saying. Then after Ctenophorans we had Nematoda. We had the phylum Nematoda we had. Phylum Nematoda. Phylum Nematoda. And here nematodons are also called as Acylmenthes. Nematodons are also called as Acylmenthes. They are also called as what? They are also called as Acylmenthes. Nematodons commonly they are called as roundworms. Nematodons commonly they are called as roundworms. As their body consisting of, as their body shape is round, hence we are calling them as a roundworms we are calling here. Now regarding the nematodons, here what is happening here? The nematodons which we had here, nematodons again we are dividing into 2 classes. Nematodons classes mainly consisting of what here? Mainly consisting of Aphasmida, then Phasmida. Then Phasmida. Here nematodons which we had here, we are dividing them into 2 classes. The 2 classes mainly consisting of what? Aphasmida and then Phasmida we are saying. Aphasmida, Phasmida which we had here, name itself indicate based on the presence of the amphids and phasmids. Based on the presence of the amphids and phasmids. Amphids and phasmids both are the receptors. Amphids are the chemoreceptors, phasmids are the sensory receptors. Name itself indicate class Aphasmida. A it mean absence. Phasmida it mean in this class phasmids are absent here. Aphasmida example always consisting of what? Trichinella. The Aphasmida example always consisting of organism Trichinella we are saying. In these things phasmids are absent. They consisting of only amphids, right? Then phasmida we are saying, name itself indicate the class phasmida organisms consisting of phasmid, right? Example mainly consisting of what? This example mainly consisting of Ascaris lumbricoides, and then Eukarya bancrofti. These both are the parasites. They are the examples for what? They are the examples for the phasmida we are saying. And this is about the nematodons we are saying. And nematodons excretory glands always they are the rennet glands we are saying. Right? This is about the nematodons we had here. Apart from the nematodons, next we had about the phylum Platyhelminthes. Phylum Platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes, commonly we are calling them as the flatworms. As their body is dorsolaterally flattened. Hence we are calling them as what? Hence we are calling them as the flatworms here. Very important point here. Platyhelminthes which are there, they are the acoelomates. That means in this organism, coelom is absent. And organ system level of organization is first we are seeing in the Platyhelminthes only. That means Platyhelminthes only first exhibited the organ system level of organization. We are saying. And Platyhelminthes, most of the Platyhelminthes, they are the parasites. That means they are living in the host we are saying. And then here Platyhelminthes which we had here, this Platyhelminthes we are dividing into three classes again. Turbellaria, Trematoda and Cystoda. Turbellaria, Trematoda, three classes. Turbellaria, Trematoda, then Cystoda. Three classes we are saying. And regarding the Platyhelminthes, the class Turbellaria of the Platyhelminthes, example mainly consisting of what? Dugacia or Dugacia. Then Trematodons which are there here. Trematodon example mainly consisting of, mostly Trematodon class consisting of flukes here. Example we are taking as a Fasciola hepatica. Commonly we are calling it as a liver fluke. And Cystoda, mainly the Cystoda which we had here, Cystoda example mainly consisting of Taenia solium. We are calling it as a pork tapeworm. As it is present in the pig, hence we are calling as what? Pork tapeworm we are calling. And Cystodons mainly consisting of three parasitic adaptations, that is a hook, sucker and rostellum. They are present in the Cystodon. This is about the classification of the Platyhelminthes, three classes: Turbellaria, Trematoda, Cystoda, and these are the examples we are seeing about the Platyhelminthes we had. After Platyhelminthes we had about the Annelidans. Next class we had about the Annelidans. Right. Phylum Annelida we had. Simply, as we know, Annelidans are they consisting of a organ system level of organization. They are the triploblastic, that means they consisting of ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm, and always remember this point here. Annelidans which are there, they are the schizocoelomates. Annelidans always we are saying as a schizocoelomates. That means they are the true coelomates. They consisting of true coelomate. They are the schizocoelomates here. And Annelidans always undergo respiration by the simple diffusion, and excretion of the Annelidans always by the nephridia. Nephridia are the excretory organs in the Annelidans we are saying. And Annelidans which are there here, they consisting of a metameric segmentation. That means their body is divided into segments. True segmentation we are seeing in the Annelidans here. Now Annelidans again we are dividing into three classes. The three classes mainly consisting of what? Three classes mainly consisting of Polychaeta, Oligochaeta, and Hirudina. Right? Polychaeta, Oligochaeta, Hirudina. Three are the classes of the annelidans here. On what basis we have been divided the three classes? Here on the basis of the presence of setae. Setae are the organelles which are helping for the locomotion. We are saying in these three classes, Chaetae, the term always indicate the setae. We are saying. Polychaetans we are saying. Name itself indicate. Class Polychaeta. Poly it means many setae. They consisting of many setae. Example of the Polychaeta always we are taking as a Nereis. Nereis commonly we are calling as a sandworm. Here. Then Oligochaeta. Oligo the term always indicate few. Chaetae it means setae. That means they consisting of less setae. Example we are taking as Pheretima. Pheretima is the scientific name of earthworm. Pheretima postma, the common earthworm. We can take the example for the Oligochaeta, class Oligochaeta. And Hirudinea, example always we can take, that is the Hirudinaria. Leech, common name is leech. That means fresh water. Always the Hirudinarians which are there, they are the fresh water. They consisting of segmentation. They consisting of a particular segmentation. Hirudinea class consisting of particular segmentation, right? Example what we are taking, Hirudinaria we are taking. Hirudinaria is a freshwater leech we are seeing. The blood sucking leech is example of what? Example of the Hirudinea class, and its scientific name is Hirudinaria we are seeing. This is about the phylum Annelida. Next about the phylum Arthropoda. Phylum Arthropoda. Right, Arthropoda, name itself indicate. Arthropodans, very important here. Arthropoda, which is there. Arthropoda is the largest phylum, right? In the complete invertebrates, Arthropoda is the largest phylum because 80% of the invertebrates which are there, 80% of the invertebrates are the Arthropodans only. The name itself indicate. Arthro, it means jointed. Arthro, it means what? Arthro, it means jointed we are saying. Arthro, it means jointed. Poda, it means foot. That means Arthropodans always they are consisting of a jointed foot. Hence we are calling them as Arthropodans. Same thing here. Arthropodans also consisting of true coelom, that is the schizocoelomates, and Arthropodans they are also consisting of a organ system level of organization. They are triploblastic. Then very important point here, Arthropodans always consisting of a open type of circulatory system. That means in this Arthropodans blood vessels are absent. Annelidans consisting of a closed type of circulatory system. In the annelidans blood vessels are present, but in the Arthropodans blood vessels are absent we are saying. Hence in the Arthropodans we are saying as a open type of circulatory system. Now if you see the classification of Arthropodans and what point we discussed, 80% of the largest phylum, complete invertebrates. In the invertebrates largest phylum we are saying as what? Arthropodans. Arthropodans we are dividing into three subphylums. We are dividing into three subphylums. Three subphylums mainly consisting of Trilobita, Cheliceratae, then Mandibulata. Three subphylums. We are dividing into three subphylums. Arthropodans we are dividing into three subphylums. Again, Trilobita which is there. Trilobita consists. We are not dividing Trilobita into any classes. Trilobita consisting of only one example. There is an extinct example. We are saying it as a Triarthus. It is extinct. Triarthus is the extinct organism we are saying. It is not present on the land we are saying. Cheliceratae again we are dividing into two classes. The two classes mainly consisting of class Xiphozoura, then class Arachnida. Class Xiphozoura example mainly we are taking as Limulus. It means king crab. Limulus it means king crab, right? Then arachnidans class example mainly consisting of Palamnios. Palamnios it means scorpion. Then Arania it means spider. They are present in the arachnidans, right? And ticks and mites. Ticks and mites also we are seeing the arachnidans. And very very important point here. Xiphozoorans, in the xiphozoorans, that means in the king crab, the respiratory organs are the book gills. Respiratory organs are the book gills. In the arachnidans, the respiratory organs are the book lungs. Book lungs here, right? And Malpighian tubules are the excretory organs. They are common here, right? This is about the class Cancellatae. And then about the class Mandibulatae. Class Mandibulatae is divided into 4 classes again. They are divided into 4 classes. Crustacea, crustaceans, Chilopoda, Diplopoda, insecta. Chilopoda, Diplopoda, insecta we are saying. Crustaceans mainly they are consisting of a freshwater crustacean. Example always we can take as a palamon. Palamon it means prawn. They are the freshwater here. Crustaceans example we can take as a palamon. Crustaceans mainly consisting of respiratory organs are the gills, and then excretory organs are the green glands we are saying. Then Chilopoda. Chilopoda we are also calling as centipedes. That means they are consisting of 100 legs. Chilopodans we are calling as centipedes. They are consisting of 100 legs here. Chilopodans they are consisting of a trachea or the respiratory organs. Then the Malpighian tubules which are there, they are the excretory organs here. Example of the Chilopodans or centipedes we are taking as Scolopendra, which they consisting of 100 legs. Diplopodans we are calling as millipedes. They are also calling them as millipedes. Millipedes it means 1,000-legged. This organism they are consisting of a 1,000-legged we are saying. And Diplopoda or millipeda organism they are consisting of trachea or the respiratory organs. Malpighian tubules are the excretory organs here. Example we can take as a Julas. Here. Insecta, the name itself indicate they are consisting of insects, right? And they consisting of a respiratory organs or trachea. Then excretory organs are the Malpighian tubules. And very important points in terms of the insecta. Insecta excretory product is uricotelic. That means they will excrete the uric acid, right? Then example we can take as a Bombyx mori. That means silkworm. Silkworm we can take the example, that is the Bombyx mori. And this is about the classification of the Arthropoda, phylum Arthropoda. Phylum Arthropoda is the largest class in the invertebrates because it is accounting for the 80% of the organisms. In the phylum Arthropoda, phylum Insecta is the largest class because on the land most of them are the insects only. This is about the phylum Arthropoda. 3 subphylums, and then again subphylum Trilobita consisting of only one example, that is Triarthus. Subphylum Chelicerata is divided into class Xiphozoora, class Arachnida. And then Mandibulata is divided into 4 classes again: Crustacea, Chilopoda, Centipedes, Diplopoda, Millipedes, and lastly Insecta. This is about the phylum Arthropoda we are saying. Phylum Arthropoda we have. Phylum Arthropoda. Then after the phylum Arthropoda we had phylum Mollusca. Phylum Mollusca we had. Phylum Mollusca. Mollusca organisms which are there, mostly they are the freshwater organisms we are saying, and molluscans are the second largest phylum in the invertebrates. After arthropods we are saying the molluscans are the second largest invertebrates. That means second largest organisms we are saying, because more number of molluscans are present after the arthropods we are saying. Molluscans which are there, molluscans always we are saying them as a freshwater, and molluscans which are there, they consisting of it, that means aquatic organisms. Mostly molluscans are the aquatic organisms we are saying. Molluscans which are there, they consisting of a radula, which is a rasping organ. Radula we had. Radula is a rasping organ we are saying. That means for the feeding, for the locomotion, all these things this radula is helping we are saying. Molluscans consisting of a Oospraedium. Oospraedium is a water purity testing, right? Testing organ which is present in the molluscans we are calling as what? Oospraedium we are calling it. if you see the classification of the molluscans are divided into 7 classes. Molluscans are divided into 7 classes, we are saying. 7 classes. Class Aplacophora, then class Polyplacophora, then class Monoplacophora, then Gastropoda, Scapopoda, then Pelecypoda, Bivalvia, and Lamellibranchia, then lastly Cephalopoda. Molluscans we are dividing into 7 classes on the basis of the presence of the plates and presence of the missing foot here, shape of the foot here. Molluscans body mainly we are consisting of what? Mantle, foot and visceral hump. Mantle, foot and visceral hump is the body is divided into, molluscans body is divided into 3 parts here. Mantle we are saying, visceral hump we are saying, and then foot we are saying here, right? Here 7 classes we are saying here. 7 classes in the first class, Aplacophora. Aplacophora it means what? Actually here the A it means absence of plates here. Plates are absent here. Aplacophora example mainly consisting of what? Mainly consisting of Neomania. Neomania is example of the Aplacophora. Polyplacophora. Poly it means many. Placophora it means plates here. This organism, this class organisms consisting of many plates we are saying. Polyplacophora example mainly consisting of chiton. Then Monoplacophora. Monoplacophora it means actually single. Mono it means single we are saying. Monoplacophora consisting of a single plate we are saying. Monoplacophora example mainly consisting of what? Neopalaena gelatia. Neopalaena gelatia we are saying. Neopalaena gelatia. Then Gastropoda. Gastro it means belly, stomach region. Poda it means food. That means the belly region is turned into food here. Hence we are calling as what? Hence we are calling as a gastropoda we are calling here, right? Gastropoda example mainly consisting of what? Pila globosa. That means snail. Very important point, gastropodons mainly exhibits a torsion phenomena. That means 180 degrees the body is curved, the body is tilted. This phenomena we are calling as what? Torsion. Torsion will be exhibited by the gastropodons. Scapopoda. Scapo it means boat shaped here. And poda it means foot here. Scapopoda example mainly consisting of dentalium. Dentalium is example of the scapopoda. Then Pelecypoda. Pelecy it means wedge shaped. That means axe shaped. Pelecy it means axe shaped. Axe shaped foot is present. Hence we are calling as Pelecypoda. Bivalvia it means what? Actually bivalvia it means 2 shells are present. As a consisting of 2 shells we are calling as what? Bivalvia. Lamellibranchia we are calling it as because they consisting of gills. By the gills respiration takes place. Hence we are calling this class also as a Lamellibranchia. Example we are taking as a Unio. That means oyster, where the pearls are formed here. That Unio we are calling as example of this Pelecypoda. Then Cephalopoda. Cephalo it means what? Head region consisting of foot here. Head region is turned into foot. Hence we are calling as a foot. Hence we are calling as Cephalopoda. Here Cephalopoda example mainly consisting of giant squid, largest invertebrate. In all the invertebrate, the largest invertebrate is a giant squid we are saying. Then octopus, devilfish, is also example of what? Is also example of the Cephalopoda we are saying. This is about the classification of the phylum Mollusca we are saying, right? Then lastly we had about the phylum Echinodermata. Phylum Echinodermata. Lastly we had about the phylum Echinodermata. Here phylum Echinodermata organisms which we had here, the name itself indicate echinodermatans which are there. Echines, the term always indicates spines here. Dermata it means skins we are saying. That means the organisms on which they consisting of a spines, their body is consisting of a spines here. Hence we are naming them as echinodermatans. Very important point, echinodermatans consisting of enterocoelom. It is consisting of enterocoelom. In the echinodermatans, the larval forms will exhibit the bilateral symmetry and adult forms will exhibit the radial symmetry. Don't forget this point. Then in the echinodermatans, water vascular system is present. For the transportation, all these things, water vascular system, or else we are calling it as a ambulacral system. We are calling it as a ambulacral system. Ambulacral system. Mainly ambulacral system consisting of a opening we are calling as madreporite, or madreporite we are calling the opening here. That water vascular system as ambulacral system which is present in the echinodermatans. What is the use of this echinodermatans now? This water vascular system which we had, whereas ambulacral system which we had here, this always helps in the water intake, that means transportation, all these things is the use of this water vascular system or ambulacral system. Echinodermatans we are dividing into what? We are dividing into two subphylums. We are dividing into two subphylums. Palmatozoa we had, Palmatozoa and Eleutherozoa. Subphylum Palmatozoa, they are the subphylums. Subphylum Palmatozoa consisting of only one class. Subphylum Palmatozoa consisting of only one class, that is the Crinoidae. Class Crinoidae. Class Crinoidae consisting of example, that is Tylocrinin. Tylocrinin, it is commonly called as sea lily. It is commonly called as sea lily. This is about the subphylum Palmatozoa. Subphylum Eleutherozoa, again we are dividing into what? We are dividing into four classes. Four classes. The four classes mainly consisting of what? Asteroidae we had, Ophioidae we had, then Echinoidae we had, then Holothuridae we had. Four classes. Subphylum Eleutherozoa consisting of four classes we are saying. Asteroidae, Ophioidae, Echinoidae, Holothuridae we are saying. Here Asteroidae, name itself indicate, Asteroidae consisting of example as a Asterias, that means starfish. Example Asterias, it is a starfish we are saying. Ophioidae, example we are saying as a Ophiothrix. Ophiothrix is the brittle star. We are commonly calling it as a brittle star. Then Echinoidae, example mainly consisting of sea urchin, heart urchins, all these things here. Echinoidae example mainly consisting of Echinus. Echinus commonly called as sea urchin. Sea urchin. Then Holothuridae, example mainly consisting of sea cucumber. Holothurian. Holothuridae class mainly consisting of what? Sea cucumber we are saying. This is about the classification of the Echinodermata. Two subphylums Echinodermata is consisting of. One is subphylum Palmatozoa, subphylum Eleutherozoa. Remember this point here. Subphylum Palmatozoa which you had, they are sessile. They can't move. They are sessile. They can't move here. In the Palmatozoans, madreporite is absent. As madreporite is absent, what is happening here? They are the ambulacral system which is there, it will be not function properly here. Apart from this thing, what is the Eleutherozoa we had? Eleutherozoa, subphylum Eleutherozoa, we are dividing into four classes here. Asteroidae, class Ophioidae, class Echinoidae, class Holothuridae. Class Asteroidae example mainly consisting of Asterias. Asterias example is a starfish. Then Asterias example is the Asterias common name is starfish, and Ophioidae example is Ophiothrix. Ophiothrix we are calling it as a brittle star. Lastly we are calling it as a Echinoidae. Echinoidae mainly they are consisting of sea urchins, heart urchins, all these things. Example we are taking as Echinus. Echinus common name is sea urchin, and very important point, Echinoidae class organisms mainly consisting of a 5-paired masticatory jaw called as Aristotle's lantern. Lastly we are calling as a Holothuridae. Holothuridae always they are consisting of a respiratory trees or the respiratory organs here. Example we are calling as a Holothurian or a sea cucumber. This is about the complete invertebrates, about the 9 phylums of the invertebrates, about the classification of the 9 phylums, all these things. This is about the invertebrates.